Good morning, everyone. I don't know how the sound quality will be today for when I'm moving because it's so cold. The tape I use to hold my mic on is frozen, and I don't know. It's happened to me once before where the cold just made my phone just shut off. So it might be bad audio, short video today. I don't know. We'll find out. But yeah, this is the beginning where I do like my my greetings and kind of like announcements things. So I started on TikTok. It's an interesting story about going there. So I gotta do like a little intro for them anyway because they have no idea what I'm doing. But I'd like to thank Vitaly for that. And all my regulars that just refused to comment, Josh, Zach, Tyler, you guys. Vitaly kept saying like, hey, if community is something you're aiming for and discussion, you gotta go on TikTok. And I'm more I'm a millennial. I was born in '93, so YouTube was always I grew up on YouTube. And I didn't even originally plan on going on YouTube. This whole originally it was gonna be just I post this on Facebook and Instagram, keep myself motivated, keep myself held accountable, maybe motivate some other people. And then people, well, it was actually working. People were messaging me, telling me that it was motivating them. They were taking those baby steps I was talking about. I guess I'm just going into the story about TikTok right now, I guess. So they started taking those baby steps, and it was making me happy. I was like, this is awesome. Like, this is what I wanted. I want people to start taking care of themselves, right? So anyway, like I said, totally YouTube guy my whole life. Resisted TikTok, kind of being like that typical older guy, only dumb stuff is on TikTok and kids and stuff. But my video yesterday, I was clipping some for Instagram shorts and reels and stuff, or I guess YouTube shorts and reels. I got to a part where I said I wish I knew a lot of this stuff and started implementing this stuff when I was younger. I was like, huh. There was a second part to that. So there was another video I clipped. I was like, okay, I guess I got to do this. But the biggest one was like, hey, I wish I knew this when I was younger. And a lot of the stuff I see, the approach I take is is different. Like a lot of the stuff I see is for younger people to motivate themselves to. It's all vanity stuff, right? Which I'm like, whatever, but it's always get fit to look good or get disciplined to make more money, which is that's fine. But nobody's talking about hey, get everything, make yourself better for you, but also for the people around you, right? I think David Goggins mentioned something like who's going to carry the boats, but that's a thing Vitaly and I always yell at each other. But I wanted to give a different take, better yourself for you and for others. It doesn't always have to be I don't know. I feel like I'm going on a rant that doesn't need to be said, but I guess that's the beginning part for me because I gotta put my hands in my pockets again and find my spot where I can actually talk. I got my bullet points today. But yeah, good morning, everybody. Tyler, Josh, John. Do something today. Move. There. The first time I ever decided to put this on a tree, it went perfectly, and I haven't been able to replicate that since. Just dropped it in snow again. I have to stand far back. I don't know how I did it. The first time I was up close. But anyway, I got to do a little intro. I guess it would be recap for some, intro for others, since I'm on a new platform and they have no idea what I'm doing. didn't stop a lot of people from going and stuff, which was cool. But anyway, so what I'm doing, actually no, I'm gonna have to keep it quick because it's on TikTok. But this actually started with a friend. We decided to do a podcast because we decided that we were gonna get off grid and start an off grid like community type of a deal, and we wanted to document it and talk about it and get other people into it, and help people that are into it that don't know where to start, because we kind of know where to start and we're starting, but it's like a thing where as we learn, we want other people to learn with us. So that's how that started. Then one day I got in my head that because I've been struggling with my fitness and my self-discipline, stuff like that, I was like, I'm the kind of guy that if I tell people I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. So I came up with this idea to put all of my workouts, the ruck marches, stuff like that on Facebook and Instagram, just to get friends and family to see it, see that they saw it and they heard me say, I'm going to do this, to keep me accountable. And it just started to change and grow from there, because some people were messaging me telling me like, hey, this is motivating me to make some changes. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. That feels cool. Like that's what I want. And I started thinking of other ways that I could turn this into different exercises for myself to help me grow on everything I struggle with and everything I want to grow with. And one of the biggest things was talking to people. I have a hard time. I shouldn't say I have now, because I've been getting better. I've been talking to strangers and when I'm shopping, stuff like that. I'm able to have conversations with neighbors that I never did before. These videos are getting easier to do. So yeah, like it's benefiting me a lot, and it's helping me, making me happier. So I wanted to share that with people. I wanted to give people a little nudge forward. And some of my earlier videos, I'll do some more like it, but I was giving people like baby steps, things that work for me that were easier, like starting out easy. I constantly go on about, I consistently talk about consistency, because that's one of the biggest things, right? And a lot of people get in their head that they got to start out big and they have to go big and fast. And like, no, start out small, take the little steps. So that's a little bit of how I got started, what I'm doing. I'm currently on YouTube talking about community, because that's another thing I want to build and work on is community. So I did the last video about it. I'm going to do some more. I'm going to talk about it a little bit today. Talk about things like homeschooling, anything that's associated with like off grid. And the podcast I mentioned, we go in and we talk about that off grid doesn't have to be, you sell all your stuff and you move out into the woods and you got your tinfoil hat on. Like a lot of people have that. I think people are coming around now because of how insane things have been getting. But it doesn't have to be something like that. Off-gridding to us, into how we're viewing it, is it could literally just be getting yourself off of things that you feel dependent on and becoming more dependent on yourself and relying on yourself and becoming a person that other people can rely on too. And that's where it starts to lead into community. So I hope I covered enough for any new people. Like I said, some people, let's recap. I got older video. If you want a more in-depth explanation of what's going on here, I think it's like day 5. My face is frozen on it. I talk about why I chose ruck marches. It's probably getting too long, so I'll just end it and I'll get into my regular YouTube stuff. Got my bullet points again today. I think yesterday I took crappy ones, so today I wrote a little bit more. Oh, funny enough, the first one, I was reminding myself to make sure I do a little intro for TikTok and explain to my friends that heard me whine and complain about how I never wanted to be on TikTok. I guess same topic, but leading into community and stuff. So I put my video up from yesterday, little clips, and I got some interaction on TikTok, and some of it was what I was talking about before, like the nihilistic, like what's the point kind of stuff. And I forgot his name, but there was a guy that was like, oh, it's too late. People are too divided. This is like, I can't remember exactly the quote, but I remember he said, it's too late. People are too divided. And I just replied to him like, it's never too late, man. Uh, there's people out there, the right people to connect with for you, they're out there. And how I know that for sure is because I don't think I'm special by any means. Like, usually when I have an idea or a plan, I know that there's so many people on the planet that there's other people out there that are thinking the same thing. And I'm right. Like, I've started like just getting out here, start talking about it. I've started to run into people. So like, Guy, whatever, I forgot your name. I'll probably edit it in later or tag you in it or something. Like, they're out there. You just gotta look and you gotta be patient. Maybe watch some of my older videos about growing yourself a little bit. Like, I don't want to be too harsh to people, but there's that tough love that people need to hear. Maybe the problem, like if you're having a hard time connecting with people, maybe the problem's you. I'm not specifically talking to you on this. I'm talking to everybody. I had a good conversation one time when I was when I hurt my legs, I got put on boring, easy tasking when I was in the military, and one of the tasks I had to do was drive cadets to the hospital when the base hospital was closed. And I can talk about this now because it's been a while, and I think it actually registered with this cadet, but it's something I could have got myself in a lot of trouble for saying this, because NCOs are supposed to be oh wait, I wasn't NCO, good lord. What was I, non-commissioned member? Yeah, so NCM, we're supposed to be nice to the cadets, especially when we're on those types of taskings, but they were complaining about how the military was homophobic and transphobic. And I asked them, like, well, what makes you say that? Because speaking for myself and my unit, my friends in the unit, like, we don't give a crap, like, who you like. We just care, are you gonna watch our back? We're gonna watch yours. Like, are you a good soldier? Are you good at what you do? Do you care about us? We care about you, kind of thing, right? And well, he was like, he started explaining some of his bad experiences. I'm like, well, maybe, did you ever think maybe it's because you're an ass? Like the kid, like he was an older kid, so it's not like I hurt his feelings too much. He sat there and thought about it, and I'm like, nobody cares. Like, it's not that you're gay, it's that you're kind of being a jerk. Maybe that's why you're getting so much negative responses. And he registered with him. He's like, yeah, I never thought about it that way. So that's just something to think about. Like, I briefly talked about it yesterday about, like, when somebody's correcting you in the right way, like, you got to know, like, sometimes people are just being, like, sometimes they're just wrong, but you got to, like, think about it. Even if you don't feel like, if they're correcting you on something, you don't feel like you do that, maybe just take some time and reflect on that. Humility is, again, something I'm going to hit on all of this stuff over and over and over again until people get it. The clip I made yesterday, I was like, this is all things we know, this is all things we keep hearing, but sometimes you just have to hear it over and over and over again, and then once you implement it at least once, then you'll get it. You hear it, but you don't get it. That went on a little bit longer. I went a completely different direction than I thought I was going to go with that one, but that was fun. Oh yeah, so more on his thing saying we're too divided and it's too hard to build community now and stuff like that. Part of me can't help but feel that some of that has been done on purpose. Some of it's like, because when I talk about how people used to be, how easy it was to have community and people work things out, like, yeah, I think some of this has been done on purpose by design to keep us divided. There's tons of arguments and conspiracies and stuff that people talk about all the time about, keeping us divided, keeping us easier to control. And I believe all of that. But really what I want to talk about is like how things have changed. Like, back then, people had to get along. People had to, bury the hatchet. They had to fix, like, when they had a problem with somebody, they had to fix it because their survival literally relied on it. And right now, right now, I don't think it's going to last. Right now, we can You can be an isolated loner, and you can think you're an isolated loner and you don't need anybody, but as soon as something goes wrong, who do you go to immediately? Some kind of government agency, something like that. And they're not going to take care of you the way you need to be taken care of. They're not going to be able to give you what you need. Whether it's by sometimes it's just the right people are there, but they don't have the right equipment because government wrecks everything they touch. They don't know how to. It's like the worst people to go, right? The worst people are the ones that get to the top, and they screw all the logistics and everything over, so that the good people in there, like the good nurses, the good police officers, like the good ones, they're not equipped to handle certain situations properly. So sometimes it's not even all their fault, but you're not a lone wolf. If you think you are, wait until you have a problem. Like I'm talking like serious physical, mental problem. Like you're not gonna deal with it by yourself, and you shouldn't. Touched on that a little bit before too. Like when you refuse and you have too much pride to ask for help, you're unnecessary. You're putting yourself through stuff that you don't have to. There's people out there that care, and just look for them. And if you're having a hard time, maybe sit back and self-reflect. Like maybe I'm repelling some of these good people. But yeah, guy on TikTok, it's not too late. Oh yeah, I mentioned like before, like how we had to because our survival relied on it. Not to get too crazy here, but I think it's getting to that again. Just look at most of my audience is Canadian and American, so you guys might think like, because we're pretty I'm not speaking for everybody here, but most people, they think about the world as their own country. And because things are easy in their country and things like this never happen in their country, it can never, like things like bad things that happen, like it can never happen here. And it doesn't even have to, like, because I think everybody's brain immediately goes to like worst case scenario, like absolute collapse of a country, which Canada and America are still susceptible to, and it seems further, right? But everybody's brain immediately goes to that. But I mean like small things, like people who deal with the floods and fires that we seem to get every season. Especially when the government comes in and tries to help, like I guarantee they're probably thinking, or at least they got something in mind. It's like, man, I wish we had more of a community here. And like what's going on in the US, like I know a lot of it probably is, I'm not American. I've never been to the States, so I don't know. Like it seems like a lot of it is exaggerated for the news, but people there know. And there was probably a point in their life where they thought that they would never go through what they're going through, and that doesn't happen in this country because this is a rich first world country. Like we set the standard. Well, America sets the standard for everything, right? I talked about it yesterday and a couple times. Like I'm just gonna come out and say it, stop beating around the bush, kind of thing. I want people to start preparing, but I want you to do it in a healthy way. I'm not gonna hit you with the Canadian prepper stuff or the other prepper channels. I'm not gonna hit you with crazy clickbait thumbnails and we're all gonna die, it's over, pack up, leave, we're all doomed, blah, blah, blah. Like that just drives me insane. But prepare in a healthy way. I don't want to go on this too much. Like I don't want to start becoming associated as a prepper channel, but it's just something that's really important to me and I can't shake from my mind. And I think it's starting to get into other people's minds now too. Like it's every time you turn on the TV, scroll through news, something like that, it's just nonstop, right? Since the end of the big mysterious illness of unknown origin. Some people will get that reference.
I'm slowly like how I'm becoming now, like today's talk and yesterday's, like it's what I wanted. Like I want this to be real. Like I want it to be like people are actually out on a hike with me. Like I don't want to give any fake nonsense. Like what I'm saying, how I'm talking. Like that's why I don't edit. I just let myself stutter. I let the ums and ahs and stuff because I want this to feel real, and because it is like, even though I don't know you, I want you to be like, I want you to be okay. I want you to have what you need. I want you to be prepared and squared away for anything that could come your way, right? And I kind of touched on other like motivation channels and stuff, and how you know people are full of crap with that stuff is if they tell you that their program or their thing that, like, first of all, they're trying to sell you something. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just trying to get you to take care of yourself. But the other thing is they make it seem, if they don't outright come and say it, they'll heavily imply that your life will be easier and everything will be easy and things will just come to you. It's like, no, that's BS. Life will always be hard. No matter where you are, what you're doing, it will be tough. But what I'm trying to get people to do is, like, if you strengthen yourself in every aspect, it'll be easier to deal with that stuff. It doesn't make it go away. It just makes it easier to deal with. Like, there was a point in my life where I would never do this because people being mean to me or saying stuff to me on here, like, I wouldn't be able to handle it. But I've strengthened myself mentally now that when I'm getting nasty stuff, sometimes I laugh. Sometimes, well, most of the time I try to pray for the person. But and like I hint at it because I am gonna keep a lot of stuff still private. But I keep hinting that right now I'm going through a hard time, and I still am. But if I was hit with all these problems I'm being hit with right now, if they hit like a year ago, I wouldn't have been able to handle it. It would have crushed me. But because I started working on myself in every aspect, yeah, it's still tough, but I'm able to. I'm doing it. I'm dealing with it. I'm getting through it. Like I briefly mentioned, like, alcoholism. Like, the desire to drink is gone. Like, sometimes I'll have that voice, and some people know what I'm talking about. Like, this is too much for you. You're getting too stressed. Maybe you can, it's been a while. You haven't had a problem. Take the edge off. But I know I know better. I know where that leads to. So I'm shaking a lot because it is one of those cold days. If I still had my beard, it would be covered in icicles right now. What am I at? I don't want to keep these too long. 18. I guess I could ramble for another 10 minutes. Oh, podcast. Duh. How did I not talk about this yet? Before I start going on about other topics, and I want to make sure I hit it well enough about like another community topic. Homeschooling is going to be for another day. Speaking of the podcast, we want to do a whole podcast episode on homeschooling, and it also ties into community. Like, some people, like, they have, especially single moms, like, they have a massive interest in homeschooling, but they literally can't, right? So this is where community comes into play. If you had a community you trust, and you guys started doing like a homeschool group thing, I'm also want to talk about how happy I am. Like, 2020 sucked, and everything that went on in there in the last 2 years. But if anything good came out of it, it was waking a lot of people up to homeschooling and homeschooling groups and pods and stuff like that. So, but yeah, there's like, if there's people that are interested, again, there's like the homeschooling or with the off-grid stuff, people that are interested but they don't know where to start. Vitaly and I we're going to bring our wives on because our wives do all the homeschooling stuff, but we're going to do a podcast where we talk about how people get started. And as we help build communities too, like the people that are interested but they literally just can't because they need their kids to go to school because they need to go to work, help them find communities and stuff that with people they trust to leave their kids with. It's funny, we have no problem leaving our kids with strangers and government schools, with and like there's some statistics. I don't give a crap about YouTube. I don't know what they're gonna do if I talk about some of this stuff, because everyone goes on about religious institutions and the abuse of children. It's like, I don't even know, like they probably suppress a lot of the statistics, but children aren't safe that way in public schools like you think. It's not funny. Like, I laugh when I feel a lot of a negative emotion. I try to deal with it by laughing, but it's not funny. Like, we're all confident. And I say we all, I'm not. I've never put my kids in government school, and that's not crapping on people who do or feel like they have no other choice or whatever, but just start dealing with some of that. I don't want to sound pretentious, but brainwashing that makes you so confident in the government schooling system, but not to, find a couple people in your neighborhood community, get to know them, trust them, and have them, like, work with them to homeschool your guys' kids. Like, yeah, the people that, because for some reason it's still pretty, like, even though people are coming around to it, it's still a contentious issue. And I find a lot of people that give me a hard time or a pushback on any homeschooling stuff about, like, oh, well, they're with a stranger and blah, 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 like the homeschool groups and stuff. And I'm like, you drop your kids off to a building full of adult strangers and you don't even go to parent-teacher meetings. Like, do you know the principal's name? Do you know who's teaching your kid? Do you know how many different, like, because I know even in elementary school now, like, they'll, at least when I was in school, we had like our homeroom teacher, but then we hopped around to different classrooms, like you would in high school. I don't know if, I haven't been in school in a while, but they probably still do stuff like that, right? Do you know those teachers? Do you know what those teachers are saying to your kids? Like, I had some pretty negative experiences in elementary school, so I might seem a little biased, but I also know the statistics. And I also know that from working in a daycare, maybe that's a video for another day. Like, again, with like the nurses and the police officers, like the good ones, like they want to do good, but they're just under equipped. Like, I just spent a lot of time just kind of crapping on teachers, but there's good ones, right? There's lots of good ones, but they're like, in the public school system, they're not equipped with what they need to be the teacher they want to be. And I want to be careful, because like, this is my honest to God opinion. I'm not changing it, and I don't care if some people get offended, but at the same time, I don't want to turn people off to stuff. Right? So if you think I'm wrong, like I said, I want discussion. If you think I'm wrong, tell me. But this is something that I want to implore and push people to look into. And if, like I said, if you've been curious, now's the time. But yeah, Vitaly and I will have more information on that. Like I said, we'll bring our wives on. They know way more about what, like, they're the ones to talk to. They're the ones to listen to. But yeah, I guess that's it for now. My hands are so cold. Have a good day, everyone. God bless.